My name is Katie McCormick. I'm Regional Field Director on Don's campaign, and I'm from Swampscott, Massachusetts.
My name is Shane, and I'm from Dorchester.
My name is Shanique Spalding. I'm from Springfield. I'm the Western Mass Regional Field Director.
I'm Lucas. I'm from Lowell, and I'm a field organizer for the Merrimack Valley area.
My favorite part about being on the campaign is going door to door and meeting people and being able to tell them about Don.
I think my favorite part is talking to a voter who is undecided, maybe a little bit uninspired by politics in Massachusetts right now, and then telling them about Don and sort of seeing their face light up when you name some of his accomplishments, and then leaving that house and having them be a Don supporter. It's a good feeling.
My favorite thing to talk to folks about at the doors about Don Berwick is how strongly Don feels about social inequalities. That's something that really resonates with me as an immigrant and also an African-American woman.
We were out in Dorchester yesterday and today and planning on doing it for the next few weekends and doing some phone calls as well and getting some more volunteers out there.
I decided I really just had to stop everything and volunteer for this guy. So then I did, and I'm so happy I did that. He's the most genuine person that's running, and he's the most progressive candidate.
There's been a few times when I've actually been invited into people's houses and they've had me come and sit on their couch and I'll talk to them about maybe the single-payer health care, or they'll be drawn into his stance on casinos and how definitive he is about all of his issues.
If you're thinking about volunteer, now is the time. We're only a couple weeks away from the primary. It's September 9th. You could sign up to volunteer at www.berwickforgovernor.com/volunteer and join Team Berwick.
Hello, I'm Cecilia and I'm 17 years old.
I'm Lita and I'm 15 years old.
And we are both supporters of Don Berwick for Governor of Massachusetts. For one of the many reasons why we support Don Berwick is because of his single-payer health plan. He is the only candidate running for governor who is offering this plan. I believe that healthcare is a right for every citizen in Massachusetts, and not only in Massachusetts, but the United States. By having health care, it gives people the opportunity, especially low-income families, to have the right care that they need and treatment that maybe that they will not be able to pay for. Another reason why I also support Don Berwick is because he wants to eliminate casinos in Massachusetts.
Casinos are something that promote gambling, can promote drunk driving, and that's something that we do not want to be involved with in Massachusetts.
And it can also have a huge effect on communities, and it's never a good one. Another reason why we really support Don Berwick is because he is an amazingly strong leader. Because he was appointed for Obama, he has not only proven to the United States that he belongs in the government, but that he knows what he is doing. And please remember to vote for him on September 9th. We could really use your vote, and I'm sure, and I promise you, he will be the best leader that he can be. Thank you very much.
You took my line.
We'll have the opportunity over the next hour to hear from the three Democratic candidates for governor of Massachusetts. I'll introduce those candidates to you right now. We have Dr. Don Berwick, who's the former administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Look, I'm not a politician. I'm a doctor. I'm an executive. I grew a nonprofit organization. I've worked on the well-being of children all over the world. This is not news that we need universal pre-kindergarten. That evidence has been there for a decade or more. Where have our political leaders been? My main reaction to the market basket story is my enormous respect for the workers who stood up for management that support them, for the kind of work culture that they value, and for the customers of that organization. It's a really good example of what standing up for the rights of people, especially working people, looks like. Like my colleagues, of course, my heart goes out to this victim and his family and to the tension in that community. I am for community policing, not not combat policing. And I think escalation is the issue here. We need mechanisms to make sure that people can sit down and have dialogue. Hopefully this would never happen in Massachusetts, but you know what? This is the status quo right now. Tension, residual racism, the wages of inequality in our society. Violence like this is absolutely inexcusable. We need new thinking here. We need courageous political leaders who are going to stand up for the rights of human beings. The slogan of my campaign is all means all. Until people feel included, until we cross racial divides, until people of color, until immigrant communities feel completely included in our Commonwealth and in our nation, we're going to have the kind of tensions that can lead to this escalation of violence and the deterioration of community. I do not want that to happen in my state, and I will lead as governor toward inclusion of absolutely everybody. But the one big thing we disagree on is I'm the only candidate for governor that favors single-payer health care, Medicare for all. I do that because I want a just and equitable care system, a payment system that stands up for people instead of for big moneyed interests, and that will return money to the state treasury in the hundreds of millions of dollars. That's a big revenue source that none of my colleagues are looking at, and we need to go there as a state. Let me be really clear. Casinos destroy communities. They kill jobs. They do not add in jobs net. There are 39 states that have casinos. We know what happens. They've been well studied. University centers in Buffalo and Illinois and elsewhere, and I've talked to them and I've studied them. Casinos they shutter small businesses in the communities they enter. The communities are devastated. More jobs are lost than gained. You've got to look at the data. That is exactly what casinos do. If you don't think that's right, visit Niagara Falls, New York, or Ledyard, Connecticut, or look at Detroit right now, or what's happening in northern Mississippi. People say it adds to the state revenue. No, the states that have looked at it in general have found that state revenue goes down. Why? Because casinos add a burden to the community. They add gambling addiction, double or more gambling addiction in their areas. They add petty crime, they add drunk driving, and the state has to step in then to deal with more law enforcement and public safety. It has to deal with rescuing people with mental illness problems. The net to the state is negative, and it cannibalizes the lottery to a significant extent, and we need that lottery income. And maybe worst of all for me, for casinos, they are predators on the poor. Read the literature, look at the data. Casinos are adjusted to take money from people at the lowest levels of income. The biggest problem we have in this state is inequality. The biggest problem in the nation is inequality. And we need to begin to get the backs of people at the lower ends of the income spectrum, and having casinos is the wrong way to do that. Do we need jobs? Of course we need jobs. A better education system, smart growth, innovation economy, standing up for the rights of workers, not just a minimum wage, but a living wage, and getting out of the way of businesses, old-style politics, putting new regulations in front of business. Let's take regulations away that are hurting business. We can do that. That's part of the progressive agenda. That's the way to add jobs, plus single-payer health care. Casinos are just plain wrong. Look at the data. Housing costs are out of the reach of so many people, even who say they're in the middle class. There's almost 400,000 people in the state that are paying more than half of their income for housing. We have 4,600 families that are homeless, 19,000 people that don't have stable housing, and we have chronically homeless people in the state. I regard housing as a human right, food, clothing, and shelter. And where have our political leaders been allowing this kind of deterioration of support at a time when we absolutely know what to do? For chronic homelessness, we know how to end it. We need someone to stand up and say it's time to fix this problem. I think we're rated something like 41st in the country right now in access to housing stock. We should be first, and if I'm governor, we will be. The charter school debate is so charged. It's a perfect invitation for just political shenanigans where you try to read what you think people want you to say, you try to say that. That's not where I am. I'm not a politician, and I've looked at this hard as a pediatrician, as an entrepreneur. The correct answer, I think, is nuanced. I think that any executive that's managed a globally competitive organization knows you have to have sources of innovation inside your system, and sometimes the classical system has trouble doing that. So setting up what in industry is called skunk works, or privileged environments where you say the rules don't quite apply to you right now, figure out some new stuff for the rest of us, is a really important idea in management. And I think that's the original source of the charter school idea. I am an absolutely unequivocal supporter of the public education system. It's a mainstay of a democracy. I do not think weakening public education in any way is called for. Charters, to me, have justification as suppliers to the public school system, supplier of ideas. The standard has got to be extremely high in government. And I think in this state, as well as around the country, people are losing trust. They see that the status quo is riddled with the influence of very large money and inside baseball. They don't like it.
Thank you, Sonia. You're one amazing leader. And thank you, Democrats. It's an honor to stand here today. I want to start with a story. It's about a young man, a patient of mine. I'll call him Isaiah. I think of him often. I met Isaiah when he was 15 years old. He was a kid from Roxbury. He was in room 4, and he was writhing in pain. As it turned out, he had leukemia. Leukemia is often fatal in a black teen, but not that time. We pulled out all the stops. We walked a 4-year tightrope. He had a bone marrow transplant, and modern medicine cured Isaiah. His leukemia never came back. But there's more. Isaiah smoked his first pot at age 5. He had his first gun at age 10. At 12, he stole a car. The view from his house was vacant lots and drug dealers on the corner. He was in and out of trouble his whole life, in and out of addiction, even while we were treating his cancer. Once, when he was 17 years old, Isaiah said to me, he said, "Dr. Berwick, I think that my leukemia is a blessing, because when I'm in the hospital, at least I can't be on the streets." And then one dark night, 15 years after his leukemia was cured, Isaiah died. He died on the streets, in despair. He was overtaken by hopelessness. Isaiah had 2 lethal diseases. We cured one, leukemia. The other killed him. Its name is injustice. It is inequality. It is poverty, and yes, it's racism. I see his face every day. Every day I ask myself the same question. Today, would Isaiah die again, or would he live? I want to be your governor so that today Isaiah would live. Now look, when my organization said that we could save tens of thousands of lives by making healthcare safer, people said it was impossible. But we mobilized nearly every hospital in America, and in 18 months we did it. Our president asked me to lead the fight to make healthcare a human right at last in America. In 30 years of executive leadership, I have never, ever shied away from bold goals, and here is one bold goal: save Isaiah. Massachusetts, we can do what we decide to do. We're the first state to make healthcare a human right. We're the first state to say you can marry the person you love. We're leading the nation in clean energy. But we are not done. We have a pledge yet to keep, the pledge that we made again this morning. We said, with liberty and justice for all. All means all. All includes Isaiah. It is not liberty for all when one among us sleeps hungry, as 3,000 Massachusetts children will tonight, when 4,000 families are homeless. It isn't liberty for all when one among us works 40 or 50 hours a week and can't make ends meet for her family. It isn't justice for all when a person struggling with addiction or mental illness is slammed into a prison and forgotten. And it is neither liberty nor justice when we surrender to the myth that if some are to win, others must lose, that in a commonwealth that thrives, Isaiah must die. No, wrong. When injustice wins, no one wins. For a compassionate commonwealth, the answers are clear. Are you hungry? Food. Are you lost? Take my hand. Are you sick? care. Are you idle? Work. No, union work. The problem is lies. Lies that endanger our nation. It is a lie that those with great wealth have the right to control our future. It is a lie that corporations are people. They aren't. It's a lie that the poor make themselves poor, or that the sick make themselves sick. I am sick and tired of those lies, Massachusetts. Let's point this nation toward truth. No more lies. I say liberty and justice for all, and I cannot wait to ask Charlie Baker and his Republican Party what syllable of the word all they do not understand. I am not scared of Charlie Baker, and neither should you be. He lost once before, and make no mistake, on November 4th, we will defeat him again. Only one thing scares me: timidity. Timidity that stays silent in the face of those lies. Democrats, it is our time. Be brave. This is the time for bold goals, progressive goals, without hesitation or apology, grounded in our values, rooted in our hearts. This is what we do. Remember, this is the party of Ted Kennedy and Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey and the best governor in America, Deval Patrick. This is the state where America began. Do not be afraid. We will prevail because we will reach for what we pledge: liberty and justice for all. All means that we will end hunger and homelessness and poverty in Massachusetts. 3,000 hungry children? No, 0. All means that every single worker has a solid job, a living wage, and a fair share of the American dream. All means handing to my grandchildren a planet free from the grip of fossil fuels. All means unshackling our teachers and our children handcuffed by standardized tests. All means an end to the epidemic of addiction, not by growing prisons or by adding casinos, but by funding treatment. And all means that we in Massachusetts will take the step that status quo politicians have not had the guts to take: Medicare for all, single payer. Isaiah is not gone. He's watching. His eyes are the eyes of the hungry child, the homeless family, the frightened undocumented worker, the eyes of the woman who wants equal pay, of the man in prison who wants a road back home. He is watching, he's asking, who will help? We will. I say to him, Isaiah, hear our pledge, hear our promise. As your governor, I swear to you, we will keep that promise. Hear my pledge. All means all. One nation, indivisible, liberty, justice, for all, Isaiah, for all. Thank you, Massachusetts.
You want to take one more? I think I might have missed it. No, next to him. Why? Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
What size is it? Okay.
Oh, it's okay. You know, because of the low battery.
It won't look good.
Maybe it's good to put that away and make smiles, eye contact, customers coming in.
Okay, now we go. Oh, thank you for signing this. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
I think you should run. You've got the personality.
Oh, I do? That's very cool. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, all the pretty women that I know, they have made the same comment. Thank you very much. I'll try.
I don't vote anymore. It's just voting.
Thank you. Is somebody behind me? Okay.